Get jazzy on.
Good evening, Ursinus. For UCTV News, I'm Henry Wilshire. In the headlines tonight, Ursinus Plays International host, People Talk Pandemics, The Lantern launches, and more. This past Monday, Ursinus was visited by 49 performers from Tamagawa University, an institution located in Machida City, a subsection of the sprawling Tokyo metropolis. During their visit, they participated in many activities alongside Ursinus students. They ate lunch with budding Japanese language students, visited the bookstore for souvenirs, and then hosted a workshop so Ursinus students could learn how to perform the traditional arts, like taiko drumming, for themselves. The performance itself was that evening and featured many different acts, ranging from the traditional to the comedic. We are proud and deeply humbled that we were the last stop on their tour of America, and thank Senior Kelly Brennan and Professor Matthew Mazenko, alongside the many others who made the visit and performance possible. They weren't our only recent international visitors. On April 7th, famed French author Mary Dariussec visited Ursinus College to talk about her latest book, One Must Love Men a Lot. She discussed issues in France and how she began writing while working towards her PhD. She gave an interview-style talk, taking questions from the audience in the last 10 minutes. A reception followed. On to you, Newtonius.
Thanks, Henry. This past Sunday, Ursinus was host to a conference about the need for pandemic preparedness. The debate was held in the Black Box Theater. Students, faculty, and visiting healthcare enthusiasts asked questions about the need for vaccinations and our nation's readiness for an outbreak. Mock town hall meetings were set up following the debate for discussion of the issues raised. The speakers for the event included Dr. George Cork, Dr. Stephen Morse, and Dr. K. Vishwanath. And the event was put together by the ISGP and the CSCG Fellows. Good news for those who like to read. The Lantern, Ursinus' very own literary journal, launched its 2014 edition this week. The Lantern is entirely student-produced and advised by Dr. John Volkmer. It contains a mixture of prose, poetry, and artwork, all created by current Ursinus students. All the works were great, but 3 in particular won prizes. Isabella Esser Minera won Best Poem, Nora Sternloff won Best Prose, and Henry Wilkshire won the Krieger Prize. Congratulations to all who got their work published, but if you missed the launch but still want a copy, you can find them around campus, free of charge. Now here's Lyndon Hicks.
Thank you, Newtonius. This past week, student artists of all types were given the opportunity to showcase their skills and collaborate with one another in Ricochet. The event is the result of a semester-long process. Students took part in a course on collaboration and worked with others who volunteered. Ricochet was headed by Colleen Walsh and faculty advisor Janine McCain. The collaborative event was intended to provide a discourse between the CIE questions and important social issues of today. Next, we have Appealing or Appalling, where UCTV takes to the streets and asks students to weigh in on recent issues.
Hi, I'm Newtonius von Bolanos, and this segment is called Appealing or Appalling, in which we'll be asking people around campus whether or not they find a topic in which I tell them appealing or appalling. So hi there. I'm doing a segment on appealing and appalling, whether or not tuition increase is appealing or just tell me, what is your opinion about this?
Appalling.
It is not very good news.
Appalling. I don't really think it's a good thing.
I think I'm more on the appalling side.
So appalling, why do you find it appalling?
I can't afford the school to begin with.
Because we have to get more debt to pay for that, so.
They should find ways to get money in a different way because there's a limit to how much people can actually pay and not be paying back loans the entire life or beyond that.
Having a college degree, a bachelor's degree, is kind of a necessity now in order to be, kind of working and stuff. And the fact that tuition is so high, like I understand there's probably reasons for it, but it's appalling to me that something that's so necessary for us to be able to kind of move forward, it comes at such a high price.
I find that appalling, especially for like kids like me who, barely can afford to go here.
Because many people don't have very much money to spend on that, including myself. Some people might be able to pay the full tuition, or at least a lot of it if their parents are more wealthy, but I don't really know how that affects people who are in as much financial
a lot of people are having problems with the $2,000 increase, but do you see any like situational side of why they're increasing it by $2,000?
No. I can see that certain costs can increase over time, and that right now there's too little enrollment in general. So I have heard, and I can understand why they need to increase it, but I am not very happy about it.
A little bit. I know, I know this is more of a private organization. I know most of their expenses come from, or like they pay because of donations and stuff. But I don't know specifics.
Oh, that's understandable.
Because I don't really pay the full extent of my tuition, but I could see how it would be appalling to a lot of people who are struggling financially. So, although there might be, new buildings and everything, what's the cost to students who are already struggling?
Well, I do see that the rise of inflation occurs yearly, and the value of the dollar just keeps decreasing and decreasing. So I do see that we also would need it because of that.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you. And I think one of my questions is, where does it go?
What are they spending my $2,000 on? I have no idea.
If I knew where the money kind of was heading, or like what kind of a little bit of the financial situation that our son is going through, then maybe I could understand. But the fact, like, it seems to be okay and stuff,
So the next week's segment, where is Bobby Fong's wallet?
Well, I know that have increasing expenses like any institution does, whether it's academic or not. And tuition increases are meant to support those increased expenses. Those would include faculty and staff salaries, although I would say my salary hasn't increased much or at all in the last few years. So, to be honest, I'm not entirely sure where increased revenue is going to. I do know that we are, just because there are fewer 18-year-olds in the country these days, that enrollments are sort of slowly declining. And so I think in order to sort of keep up with the revenue that we need to operate at the level that we do, tuition costs have to go up.
So the beauty of this college can be maintained if we stay at a stagnant tuition rate. Even though it may be very repulsive to pay more money than what's already unsustainable for most of us. How can we sustain such beauty when we neglect to take care of it? And if we don't pay, or if we don't show our loyalty to what we find around us, academics, building homes in which we live in, why would they increase the tuition in the first place if they didn't mean to help us? This is our campus. We have to take care of it.
Ursinus students got colorful this weekend when they took part in the 2014 Holi Festival. Holi is the Festival of Colors, a religious event in Hinduism which is also popular across Southeast Asia. At Ursinus, the Southeast Asian Student Association hosted the event. Students made their way to the rugby practice field, where bags of colored powder were provided. The students then took the powder and threw it at one another. The results were colorful. If you missed it this year, look out for it again next year. Do you have a sweet dorm room that you want to show off? Send a picture of your dorm to UCTV at ursinus.edu and you could end up on TV. That's all from us here at UCTV. I'm Lyndon Hicks. Thanks for watching. Join us next week for more surprising guests. Who will you see on TV?
You talk dirty to me.